Ask Reddit by North Ping III. What is a good thing happening in the US right now that people aren't aware of? There's a guy in my hometown who hides thousands of dollars outside a children's rehab center, then calls the front desk and they have a little scavenger hunt until they find it. They then use the money to help families buy holiday gifts. No one knows who he is, but over the years, he's given over $100,000. It's usually front page news when the year's donation comes in. And you're telling me this guy isn't even filming it and making the front desk people express their gratitude on camera for the sake of clout and turning a profit? The nerve of some people. We've discovered a drug that places a significant pause on multiple sclerosis progression and are in trials for what could very well be the cure. Not only MS, but potentially all autoimmune disease, including Crohn's, T1 diabetes, arthritis, Lyme, and even allergies. There was a breakthrough on rabies treatment vaccine recently. I'm at work so we'll try to link when I get home. https://www.embarpress.org/doy/full/10.202012628. A judge in NJ got tired of sending juveniles in his court into the system, which often turned them to more criminal behavior, and decided to partner with a non-profit and zone educators to organize a school with trade hands-on learning opportunities with practical applications, apprenticeships, and other innovative elements. This model attracted top educators plus professionals with innovative teaching methods, and soon the students were performing, learning, plus 90% going on to college or other advanced schools. This began to get the attention of educator schools, who began to refer troubled teens with potential until there were no spots left. Soon it was a thriving alternative model with a wait list, attracting volunteers, resources, donors, educators, etc. All BC of a need seen by a motivated judge and an innovative solution that bloomed. This is a type of program that deserves study. Imagine if every city had this program. The cycle that this is breaking for these children is a huge impact, especially for that community. There is a new treatment for my brain cancer. There have been no advancements in like 40 years. I should be able to take it next year and it will hopefully delay my tumor growth. It's pretty exciting. I have done 2 clinical trials. One did not pan out. The other one they won't have the information for probably another 6-10 years. I'm expecting an update from you in 10 years. Don't let me down. The IRS is testing a program in 2024 that will let most people file their taxes for free right at their website, so that should save people a little cash this spring. I'm really hoping this works well. It's been talked about for a while. Hopefully by 2025 it will eliminate some of the people that are hoping to die in their positions instead of letting others take over and implement forward-moving changes within the IRS. I still stand by my belief that we should handle our taxes much like other countries do. They should just tell us what we owe and we pay it. Or better still, take out the correct amount and then we don't have to play a guessing game. FFS. The sea stars on the west coast are returning after suffering a wasting disease a few years back. As a former marine biologist and echinoderm lover, this makes me happy. A new national park is going to be created in Maine. Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations on your upcoming addition, Maine. This has been making news for the last few years but still fun to share. River otters are returning to their natural habitats. They were almost wiped out across the US and Canada because of pollution, fur trading and development driving them out of their natural habitats. But thanks to efforts to clean up waterways and reintroduce the otters, they seem to be thriving and cropping up all over the country. In my city, Chicago, they were even spotted in the river last year and hadn't been seen there for decades. Edit. I find it utterly delightful that everyone is commenting with their otter sightings. Please continue. Been seeing river otters, muskrats, and beaver in our local lakes just outside Raleigh, NC. And bald eagles are almost common, too. It's a thrill to see. Because of Mark Cuban extremely cheap online pharmacy where you can get your prescription drugs for fractions of what major retailers like CVS or Walgreens sell them for. Now CVS is beginning to switch to this model, so hopefully cheaper medicine for everybody will increasingly become a reality. Bruh. You have got to be kidding me. I just looked it up and used the link you coupled and posted, and I was able to see they have a medicine that I was prescribed over a month ago and my insurance refused to cover, and Walgreens wanted close to $400 for a 30-day supply. Cuban has it for $22 for the monthly supply. A breast cancer vaccine is in early clinical Y% 3 FID equals 105,550,075. My mother-in-law is in this trial right now. Saved her life. It's working. Every year in Atlanta and surrounding areas, Clark Howard and affiliates raise donations to give literally every single kid in foster care gifts of their choosing for Christmas morning. They make the quota every year, and participating in it is a Christmas tradition at my house. Google Clark's Christmas Kids and give what you can. Clark Howard is a staple here in Atlanta and someone we always turn to for consumer news. It will be a sad day when he retires. Beekeeping and wildflower yards. Many folks are starting to actually do something to stave off ecosystem collapse by keeping honeybees and ditching yards for wildflowers and green spaces. Native is what is important here. We need more native bees, flora and fauna to support our ecosystems. If you are thinking of improving your garden, remove introduced species and plant local and native trees, shrubs and flowers. Edit. Don't forget native grasses. After some really scary news in the late zeros, bee populations have been steadily on the rebound. This news makes me super happy. We need bees. There's hopeful treatment for tinnitus that's aiming to be available early 2024. We're hearing protection, everyone. I'd like that link. I've had ringing in my ears for almost 2 decades and would love to experience silence again. We're killing cancer. Look at cancer survival rates over the last 5 years. Yes. My daughter is currently in remission from an extremely aggressive type of cancer. All the scientific papers even from a few years ago called the prognosis grim and basically unsurvivable. She currently has a solid chance of survival. I am so thankful this didn't happen 5 years earlier. One of the accounts I follow on Instagram just did a fundraiser to pay down medical debt around the country. RIP medical debt does what typical debt collections companies do and buys medical debt for pennies on the dollar. But instead of trying to still collect on it, they just forgive it. We raised over $1 million in a week, and it is going to completely forgive over $100 million in medical debt. It's a pittance compared to what's owed overall, and the healthcare system overall is a whole other thing, but it's going to change thousands of people's lives, and I think that's amazing. How do I buy my own medical debt for pennies on the dollar? RE is slowly learning to recognize whale language. Meaning one day, successfully we could be able to communicate with them. Hopefully thus working to help conserve their species. I can't wait to hear a whale parent sing shout at their kid for wandering off. It's one of my favorite things to see in other species because it's such a universal thing for any adult who has spent time around children. Tucson has started an awesome pilot program to turn non-recyclable plastic waste into construction-grade building blocks. He%20 City %20 has %20 approved %20A, the %20 Lowe's %20 Reales %20 Sustainability %20 Campus. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, https://imaginationlibrary.com// sends out free books for kids under the age of 5, completely free of charge. My son was a recipient of these books. He's now approaching middle school. I'll always love Dolly Parton for her generosity to the world. Wow, this is a lot better news than I thought I'd be seeing, and that's a push I needed today. Despite everyone stuck on their phones all day, outdoor recreation has been trending up, which means people are enjoying all the great nature the USA has to offer. Up from 2022? Or up from 2019? Because the pandemic kinda skewed a lot of data. Medical research is currently running trials using CAR-T infusions to treat a handful of autoimmune diseases. The infusion is made from the patient's own plasma. It is showing effectiveness on any diseases that result in specific antibodies that are seen only in the patients with the disease. And it's working. I know this to be true because I am in the trial. Edit. To add link. https://cartformg.org/ This thread gives me hope. For the first time in a long time. A guy in New Hampshire who was secretly a multimillionaire just passed away, and in his will he left his entire fortune, $3.8 million, to his hometown of about 4,200. More, https://www.cbsnews.com/news/jeffrey-holt-secret-multimillionaire-hinsdale-new-hampshire-millions/ Isn't this the plot to Mr. Deeds? This thread does wonders for my mental health. Wow, what a bit of positivity does. Just remember, the media exists to sell ads, not to give you a balanced view of reality. People are paying attention to local elections and governance. Not just because of the extremely charged political atmosphere, but because they have started to realize more and more that the government is made up of the people, but it will lead out most of the average people and become an elite closed-off group if it is allowed to. With realizing this, people have started taking a better interest in it, which leads to some rough times but does get to wonderful places of closer community as time goes on. If you look to news stories and get past the shock and all bullshit ones, you will see more and more stories of communities getting involved in schools and local government and having success story after success story on it. That gives me a sliver of hope. Honestly, our local New York rep is so good at this. He has gotten streets cleaned up, rats taken care of, composting bins put in, bike lanes implemented. The list goes on. He actually gives a shit and does really practical things everyone wants. Can we have more of these types of posts, please? I'm so used to doom scrolling that I didn't realize how desperately deprived I was of whatever dopamine you could get from good news, but these comments woke it up. Thank you, everyone. So far, after almost a year of testing, there are no traceable amounts of PFAS chemicals in our local water supply. This is the one time I wish this question was reposted frequently. I need the reminders. We adopt chickens and ducks that no one wants anymore. We have 3 old bitty chickens who are 10+ years old, don't lay eggs, eat most of the food, and yell at everyone. They are living out their best retirement here. Despite a tornado ripping through my town on Saturday, our community has banded together and there are more volunteers and supplies than the churches and schools can manage. People showing up to serve hot meals, loaning generators, taking in fur babies, and cleaning up. Clarksville only sucks sometimes. Detroit is supposedly making a comeback. https://www.npr.org/2023/07/22/118909354//Detroit-bankruptcy-comeback-hurdle Can confirm. Certain areas are for real pretty nice and a lot of hip businesses have popped up. It's still a very weird city. You have a gorgeous church or historical venue and 2 doors down, a burned out building. The blight is diminishing though, and it's good to see. A manatee named Romeo, who spent almost his entire life in solitude, beginning in 1956, in a small tank in Miami, has been relocated to Zoo Tampa, where he can live among other manatees and be happy. His mate Juliet, that he hadn't been with the entire time, has also been relocated there. Yay. I saw a video about him on TikTok a while back, so happy to learn he is being freed from that awful tank. As of 2020, teen pregnancy in the US is down 75% from its 1991 peak. More contraception, and less sex. Phones vids have replaced a lot of it. God willing, I'm about to celebrate my second Christmas sober. I'm the father and husband my family deserves, and life is worth living. Drought conditions in the West have greatly improved, and lakes and reservoirs are much more filled than they were during the drought. Anyone who lives in states like California can remember how bad the drought was. A bill that could potentially end civil asset, meaning cops and the officers etc can just take your money cause having cash is suspicious. It has bipartisan support. I recommended talking to your rep if you support it, cause the alphabet people agencies are going to fight it. Edit. Clarify, I meant the 3-letter agencies. I actually like this. Of course I'm not pro illegal activity, but it always floored me that law enforcement could just seize all your money because they can. I hope it passes. ARPA funds and infrastructure bill funds, some of the effects of which haven't yet been felt due to the time it takes for local governments to vote on their use and allocate their direction, are more and more getting put to use in projects such as housing, climate resilience, affordable high-speed broadband, etc. Murders declined 13% in 2023. And to kind of piggyback, there have been numerous unidentified people who have gotten their names back via genetic genealogy this year. Seems like it's averaging like one a week now, and some have been unsolved cases of many decades. There is high school robotics competition that has been quietly spreading around the country. It started in 1992 with 20-ish teams. And now in 2023 there were over 3,000 teams from around the world. The stated goal is to draw a larger interest in STEAM, but it goes far beyond that. https://yahoo.be/sjf6ig_SDE8?SI6I6/CCN4AZKK. Just a little reading in this thread brightens my mood. Should have one of these threads more often. There are people everywhere buying toys for children in need to make sure they have a happy holiday. All faiths. All holidays. Wolf populations are finally growing again in places that haven't had any healthy pack numbers in a long time. Colorado and North Carolina specifically. Wolves are essential to healthy ecosystems and biodiversity, particularly as it pertains to ungulated populations. My favorite part of this is that while Colorado politicians were going back and forth on whether or not to reintroduce them, a pack from Wyoming said fuck the bureaucracy and moved into the Yampa Valley on their own accord. Upstate New York too. The December finally admitted. https://www.adirondack.com/2023/003/nasdaq-now-admits-cooperstown-wolf-was-a-wolf.html close bracket that wolves are being sighted in the Adirondacks. FDA approves cure for sickle cell disease, the first treatment to use gene editing tool CRISPR. Now 127,979. If they can use CRISPR for sickle cell, cancer isn't far behind. Cancer researcher here. There are a lot of barriers to the implementation of CRISPR to oncology that will likely not make it curative in most cancers. Not to say it hasn't revolutionized our ability to identify targets and understand biology, but it will be nearly impossible to deliver to all of the tumor tissue. St. Paul, MN received $1 million as some kind of stimulus package to do what they want. However, they think it will help their economy. They've partnered with RIP Debt, and they are buying something like $100 million in debt, pennies on the dollar, and forgiving it. This gives real people real relief. They can maybe spend a bit more in their area and increase that economy and so on. It's a wonderful thing. I hope it catches on and other cities do this. That is legit. Good job, St. Paul. What kind of debt are they buying? Public libraries. Public libraries are always awesome. There's roughly 4,000 more public libraries in the United States than there are McDonald's. 17,454 public libraries, and 13,541 McDonald's. I bought Christmas gifts for 6 families this year, so there are 23 more people who are going to wake up happy on Christmas morning. There's a cute squirrel that visits my balcony for almonds and fresh water. Last week he brought a friend who took a nap on my outdoor rug. There are 2 happy comfortable squirrels out here. Adorable. I've been giving a couple crows outside my building cat treats, and every morning they come hang on my balcony and leave me little pieces of foil, coins, etc. I swear they are trying to communicate with me, lol. There's a free federal service that sends visually impaired PPL special playback machines for books they can check out for free via mail. The books are different than regular audio books and are made so they can be easily navigated with the special player. I just don't expect much out of our country anymore as far as helpful services for the disabled. Finding out this program exists, is run well, and has a ton of patrons made me really happy.